Yo,
Yo, what's going on?
yeah, just hanging out, getting letting it all soak in from the weekend. How about yourself?
Yep, same here.
Yeah, man, there's a lot to unpack. It was I don't know. I felt like there was some good fucking fights this weekend.
Yeah. Well, let's fucking unpack that shit.
Let's unpack it. I'm down. Should we jump into the main and then maybe chat about a couple of prelims after for the homies that got there early? You know, got to show some love to them.
Okay, you want to start at the bottom of the main?
Yeah, the Yanez Randy Costa fight. Let me bring it up on the teleprompter here. Old school. Yeah, it was two young bucks meeting pretty early on in their careers.
Yeah. It was a fucking banger.
It was a banger. Yeah. It was a hell of a fight.
I would consider that a banger. Like I was really feeling Costa. That was the first time I've ever seen him fight, I think, and I really like a fighter that is just so straight, and all their fucking techniques look so on point, so crisp. He was just like, that jab was just piecing Yanez up.
It was
so it went 2 rounds. It feels like it was longer than that.
It felt so long because they just, as soon as that bell rang, they were just in a fight. Costa's jab looked amazing. He looked long. Unusual timing. Like, you know, I feel like you see a lot of fighters that sort of throw a combination, pause, throw another combination, pause. But I felt like he was hitting some really cool offbeat kind of attacks, and he was sort of lulling Yanez into slowing down, and then he would attack again kind of quite swiftly in that first round. So it was quite a cool style to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy how it looked so one-sided. And then during the broadcast, Cormier mentioned that Yanez should start jabbing with him, which Yanez pointed out and said, like, yo, thank you for the tip, and then started doing exactly that, and it just worked instantly and started piecing Costa up, which is weird. I've never seen that happen during a fight where the fucking broadcaster gives them a tip and it instantly works and he wins the fight from it.
Yeah, the apex, man, the blessings of the apex. And obviously DC, such an amazing mind of MMA. And I mean, it's not rocket science telling him to jab. It's cool to see it like in the moment.
To sort of jab with him instead of wait. It was just... And it seemed like that's exactly what he needed to do in that situation.
Man, yeah, it was like the switch got flipped and he started flowing off that jab, which is what, you know, whenever a fighter establishes that jab, all the other punches seem to flow so effortlessly off that, you know, it's in your opponent's face, even if you're not doing significant damage with it. It's in their eye line, it's annoying, it's touching their nose, it's irritating. Like, it's such an underutilized weapon in MMA still for some reason. Maybe because it's associated so much with boxing, but yeah, you saw him implement it in this fight and turn the tide, and, you know, was able to get Costa out of there in pretty spectacular fashion. Like, that final combination was something beautiful.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was real interesting to see that. I've never seen that happen. But yeah, and then we had the Miranda Maverick versus Macy Barber fight, and that fight fucking annoyed me.
That was fucking irritating, man.
I just don't see how the judges could score that for Macy.
I totally agree, bro. It was bizarre. Dana just loves her for some reason. I don't know what it is, whether it was just whack judging or what was it, man. She just did not win that fight. Like, I can't see any way that she won that fight.
No, there's nothing. Like, that shit just pisses me off, because what are the judges, if everyone else thinks a certain way, thinks Miranda Maverick definitely won that, but the judges, the people that are being paid to judge the fight, think that Macy Barber won? How does that even happen?
The only round that she could possibly have won was the third, and she didn't win that round. Like, Miranda, in fairness, she kind of dropped off a little bit, but when you look at the stats there, you know, 82 significant strikes she landed, as opposed to 38 from Macy. One takedown on each side. There was no way, you know, in the fans' eyes, Maverick definitely won that fight, but still, on the official record, Macy Barber beat Miranda Maverick, which just did not happen. It wasn't the fight that I watched, you know, like.
No, anyone what? Like, no one. I just don't see. Even if you know nothing about MMA, it's so obvious from the outside that Miranda Maverick won that. Like, the pressure, even if she was pressuring her the whole time.
Yep.
So that fucking annoyed the fuck out of me.
She landed more strikes. She had octagon control. She looked like the better fighter in there by far. It was, I was yelling during that decision. It was whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a shocker, an absolute shocker. Like, and even DC said on the commentary, you know, like, if Macy Barber looks at that fight with any honesty at all, she'll know she didn't win it. And I appreciate DC for saying that, man, because he's obviously got great relationships with the UFC, and he's done a lot for the sport. And I really appreciate that guys like him and Bisping, you know, they tell it like it is. Like, if the judging is fucking moronic, they just say it. And I don't think you'd see that in any other sport, man. People are afraid, like, oh, I'm gonna lose my job and shit. Like, but they're just like, that was a fucking clanger of a decision. So I don't know, man. It was one to forget. I don't know, really.
It wasn't a really good fight either. Like, there wasn't really much that, you know, of note that happened. I don't really.
Nah.
Except for the judging. Like, if the
judge,
judging wasn't there, we would have just forgotten about the fight.
100%. Yeah, and I think we can just move on, you know, to the next fight, which was a great bout between Darrick Minner and Darren the Damage Elkins. What can you say about this fight? You know, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with Darrick Minner. I had never seen him fight. He was getting to potentially fight-ending submission positions really easily at the start, and
he looked good.
And I mean, if he's getting that on Darren Elkins, what is he gonna do to other dudes? I feel like Darren Elkins is he powered through that and took mad damage. He
is the damage, you know. So he took himself, you know, essentially there. But Darrick Minner looked good, man. He looked like he had great hustles, you know, in those 50-50 sprawl positions. He really he was beating Elkins to the punch, you know, or to the position. But what more can you say about Darren Elkins, man? The way that he can persevere, you know, the fight literally hasn't started till he's pissing blood down his chest, you know. He's always bleeding from somewhere. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And
he
he's
must
just
have scar tissue all through his face.
Oh man.
Ripped up.
But just the cardio and just that nose to the grindstone, and it felt like, you know, he was just waiting for Darrick Minner to tire out, and Minner tired out slightly earlier than I thought, and just seeing there was that moment where the tide started to turn and Elkins just started doing what Elkins does, and he started drowning Darrick Minner, and it was pretty amazing.
It seems like, a lot of those dudes from that kind of era, like Nate Diaz, like, you know, they just sort of were built a little bit different like that. How they can they expect to withstand some mad damage and then just drown the dude.
I love watching those dudes, man.
I know. When you see a guy come out so fresh, so like Minna was just looking slick, just looking really good, and then just drowned.
That power bar is just going down, man.
Yeah.
And the damage just, oh man, yeah, he could go all day, you know. It could be 10 rounds and he would just be plodding away.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one. Yeah, oh, you go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely made me interested to see what Minna can do in the next fights that he has.
100%. Yeah, no real losers from that fight. And you're fighting a kind of a bit of a fight night legend in Darren Elkins, and I think Minna will improve from that fight. Like it was a great performance, and you know he's going to be hitting the pavement pretty hard after that one. I think he knows that at this level you can't, you know, you have to be able to go the full 15 at a pace like that. It's obviously super tough to do, but I think he's going to be back stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
So we will see.
We'll see.
And then we had the co-main. I feel like this fight kind of crept up, eh? It was like, oh, all of a sudden we're at the co-main. Like it was a...
Yeah. This was a cool fight.
Yeah.
It was a fucking banger.
Yeah, it really was, eh? Two fighters that really wanted it, which you always want to see, and I think fight nights provide those sort of battles where it's like make a statement, do something, go for it. And they really went for it in this fight, eh? Kyler Phillips versus Raulian Paiva.
Yeah. So what did you think of the decision?
It was such a close fight. Like I kind of liked the decision, but I also, if it had gone the other way, I wouldn't have. You know, it was one of those fights that really could have gone either way. And you could see that Kyler Phillips, you know, the gas tank wasn't really there in round 3. But yeah, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I was kind of leaning towards Kyler, but at the same time, I wasn't mad that Paiva won because it was just such a close fight, such a good fight. Paiva was looking kind of rolled after the first round a little bit.
Yeah, like, he was in trouble.
Yeah, he was sort of feeling it. You could sort of see a little bit of worry on his face, and then in the second round, he came through looking way better. In the third round, looked better still. So. Yeah, I don't know. It was a really good fight.
It's a great thing to have as a fighter, eh? Getting better as the fight goes on. Like you think about like Max Holloway, and you know the tempo just turns up, and you can know that about a fighter, but when you're in there with someone like Max, or you know the way that Paiva turned that up, that's so difficult. You know, as your cardio's dropping, your opponent is just on the up, more output. I felt like. Yeah, Paiva kind of woke up and he was throwing really nice straight punches, and his kind of fundamentals I felt like got him across the line. But again, that fight really could have gone either way, and I think both of their stock goes up, and just a great fight for the fans.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so yeah, then we had the much
anticipated main return of TJ versus Corey, man. It was, I was nervous, man. I was so nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, so was I. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get. Like, I mean, so how long was he out for?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, and all
it's not 5 years like Misha,
but also, you know, from I think TJ's 35 now, so it's 2 years of his prime, and a really tough opponent to come back against. You know, someone that he's trained with, that has been active in the sport. Full respect to TJ for taking such a tough opponent on his comeback fight. You know, whether or not you believe in ring rust, you know, it's a tough. Corey is a tough out for anyone. Yeah,
it's
away
weird
respect.
with ring rust, because if he would have fought really shit, which he could do anyway, like Corey's such a hard opponent that he makes people look shit. So like if TJ did fight shit, people would have been saying, it's just ring rust, you know, give him another fight. And so I think ring rust just gets put as an excuse for people that fight shit after they just get back. I don't think that it actually does exist, like Dom was saying.
It's just, have you prepared your mindset, you know? Have you simulated the feeling of being in a fight, you know? Have you done some tough sparring? Have you visualized entering the octagon? You know, because if you haven't done that, you're gonna look like you're not meant to be in there, because it's an incredibly like stressful thing to do, I imagine, to walk into a cage with another human being and the door shuts and you have to essentially fight to the death. Like if there was no referee in there, it would be, you know, when a guy's got a fucking rear naked choke on you, if he holds it, you die, you know? So it's an intense experience, but at this level, you have to have your mind right. And TJ, you know, you can never fault his mindset. You know, he's a disciplined character with a strong mind, and I think he showed that in the fight, you know?
Yeah, I think he definitely showed. The one thing that I was super impressed with is his chin. He just took some, like, especially in the first round, he took that mad knee, which turned into a triangle somehow from Corey. That looked super tight. That was crazy how he did that. And it looked potentially like he was going to finish TJ. And TJ got out of it somehow. And then Corey got him in a heel hook, which seemed to pop TJ's knee out. And that seemed to bother him the rest of the fight, where he said that he couldn't get his hooks in when he took the back, which he was doing a lot on Corey. He had that back in, so potentially if he could get his hooks in, he could have, you know, threatened him with a rear naked a lot of times. But yeah, that knee seemed to really bother him. Then TJ got his fucking eye opened up with a massive fucking
nasty gash.
That was wild. That bleeding all through his eye.
Yeah, it was it. That's a tough place for a cut, man. Little blood waterfall right above your eye, like sting in the eye, blurring the vision. Like if you've ever shut one eye and looked at anything, you know, it's so hard to have any depth perception. So the fact that happened so early in the fight, was it in the second round that he got cut?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so to go from a fucking your knee popping out and then a gash over your eye, just pouring into your eyeball.
It's a tough start. And if, you know, in talking about mindset, you know, if you are having question marks about whether you still have it or you're meant to be in there after a 2-year layoff, persevering through that sort of adversity, you know, having all those things happening so early in the fight, you know, he showed a lot of heart and a lot of toughness to compose himself, you know, in a fight like that, which is why he's such a dangerous contender, you know, for that title, because he just has that world-class determination and toughness, and he has all the skills to do it, you know. What did you make of Corey's performance?
I mean, I thought he fought well. When it came to the decision, I was leaning towards Corey. I thought Corey had done enough, especially in the last round. I thought that was quite. I thought Corey really finished it off well. He had the body shots that he was hitting TJ with, and TJ seemed to reacting a lot. He sort of wobbled him. A lot of people were saying that he was trying a lot of weird shit, a lot of spinny shit, a lot of like crazy kicks and stuff. But I don't know. I think we've seen those work enough for Corey that it's easy to point to those as the reasons why he could have lost it. But I think those kind of, I mean, he nearly had TJ out. Like if that knee if his chin was compromised in any way, and I think that knee would knock a lot of dudes out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was leaning towards Corey, but it was such a close fight, and the judging had been a little bit weird. So I wasn't, it could go either way.
100%.
Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, just a note on the chin. How much better did TJ's chin look at 135? Just a point on the weight cuts. You can take such a better punch when you have the extra body mass. The way he got finished at 125. I just think a lot more fighters need to fight their natural weight class. Just a side note. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was a really close fight. What irritated me was I felt like Corey was cruising, and I felt like he was fighting like he thought he'd done enough. It's like you're in there for 25 minutes, or say 5 more minutes at the start of the 5th round. Fucking use it, man. Like, he looked like, I'm cruising to victory here. It reminded me of when fucking Kamaru Usman won that fight, and he's like, I've still got so much fucking gas in the tank. I could have gone for I haven't even got out of 3rd gear. And I'm like, bro, fucking get out of 3rd gear. It's fucking annoying. You didn't finish the dude, and you're saying that you've got all this energy and you could have done all this shit. You just had the chance to do it. Go and do it.
Yeah.
And on the spinning attacks and stuff, those attacks have worked really well for him in the past, but I felt like in those previous fights against Edgar and Moraes, and I feel like he was mixing them in better. I think it's one of the downsides of having those spectacular knockouts is you can start looking for them, and for me they felt a little bit premeditated, like a little bit slow. He wasn't setting them up as well as I've seen him, and for me I just didn't feel like he used all his tools, and he wasn't flowing in the way that when we were talking in our preview. It was like he has all these tools. Can he put it together? If he mixes it up, he's going to be such a problem. And I just feel like in the end, TJ's sort of grit, determination, and kind of just that hard work mentality sort of just ever so slightly trumped the flashy fighting style of Corey. But yeah, it was such a close fight.
Yeah, I think there could have been a mixture of things happening, because it did seem like TJ got better as the fight went on, but I also feel like Corey kind of matched that. But it seemed like TJ was sort of, the things that were working at the start sort of stopped working. Corey had to readjust, and so TJ was readjusting, but I feel like he's kind of got a bit not flustered, but he wasn't fighting his normal kind of fight. Like, he was having to do things that he wasn't really used to. But like I said, in the last round, I thought Corey really fought super well, and I feel like if the fight kept going, and like pride rules or whatever, TJ had a fucked knee, gash, Corey looked fine, and I feel like if there was another round, who the fuck knows, but Corey was looking really good,
He was looking good, but he was just looking a bit too, I just felt like he wasn't going for it. Like, I just wanted to see him go. Like, he had TJ hurt, blood pissing out of his eye, the knee was compromised. I wanted to see a bit more killer instinct, and I think Corey paid the price for not going for the kill. I think he sort of went into almost like a point karate, sort of like he went into a points mindset or something, which there's nothing wrong with that. You can't always get the finish, especially against someone as tough as TJ. But we were watching, just like, go this, like, let's go, like, this is for a title fucking fight. Whoever wins this, let's go. Like, I want to see what the fuck you're made of right now. I don't want to see just a little decision because you think you're ahead in the fight. That was what annoyed me in the fight, and I think it's going to be a massive wake-up call for Corey, like in his post-fight. God, he looked so sad, so salty, like. But if you don't leave it all out there, man, and you do leave it up to the judges, we saw on this card how fucked up the judges can be. And he may have got unlucky there, but you have to do your bit, man. And he did in a lot of ways, but I just feel like he didn't bring it home.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it definitely is a weird look when TJ's so fucked. He looks wrecked. Corey looks like he could go another couple rounds, and there's nothing on him.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. But yeah, I really liked Corey's takedown defense. How he was just like rolling out of shit. Like he's done that a couple times, but like against somebody that's such a good wrestler like TJ, that shit just looks so good, man.
Looked
The
phenomenal.
Kimura roll, yeah,
Yeah,
like
he looked amazing.
That shit just flat out worked.
Yeah, he didn't check the leg kicks though, eh? Like TJ was really putting them on him, and he was like, I know, again, like, he's obviously hiding it well, but he's gonna have to work on that leg kick defense.
Yeah,
as he gets to the top of the division. Yeah, Jan. I mean, yeah.
I feel like TJ could have gone way more in on those leg kicks. Like he did use it a lot, but it sort of took him a while. Like in the third round, he was really putting them on. Fourth round. But yeah, he should have just been slapping those in the first round. Just get it going.
You see that so much, eh? Especially with the leg kick and the lower leg kick, the calf kick. It's like it's working so well for a lot of fighters, and they stop doing it, and you're like, a couple more good ones of those, and it goes from being annoying and painful to like super debilitating to the point where your opponent is like a sitting fucking duck. Like,
yeah.
And you see that a lot, and I don't know if it's that they start feeling like they're gonna get countered, but that's when I'm like, switch gear and get prepared to counter the counter, like, or start feinting it and going to other attacks. It's like they just go, oh, I've sort of got everything I can get out of this weapon, and now I'm gonna not do it for the rest of the fight. Like, I find that psychology quite interesting because we see it a lot.
Yeah, it's and you're right. Like when somebody starts countering the leg kick, they kind of concede, and they're like, okay, you've won because you've just countered my leg kick. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like just layer it on. Like how Gaethje does it. How many does he says like 4 or 5 leg kicks and you're gone. Like,
yeah, he really swings the hips into those ones. He's got one of the most brutal leg kicks in the sport, and I love how whenever he rips them, he puts his hands right up in front of the face, like that real high guard. So it's like he's defensively countering, like, the straight punches that could be used to counter that leg kick. So I love how he does that, man.
Yeah,
what a monster.
And Barbosa, how he sets his leg kicks up every single time. Like they always come. What sort of TJ was doing, how he finishes off his combinations with a leg kick, which is good because you're defending everything else, and then just bam, there's a fucking leg kick behind everything.
100%, man. Yeah, it was. Oh man, and so fuck. It was sort of not the fight that I was hoping for in a lot of ways, but then at the same time, stoked to have TJ back. And it's exciting to have another top level contender in this division, man. It's like, and Corey's still there. I heard in his post-fight interview, it was so sad, and he was like, I just saw Sean Shelby in the back, and I made a pinky promise to me that I'm still only one fight away from a world title fight, and I was like, that's so fucking lame. He was like, yeah, he said to me that I am, and then I made him pinky promise. I'm like, gee, how old are you, bro?
God, Shelby's like, what
this is weird.
Is this dude?
Pinky promise, like, I don't know, man. We sort of work with contracts and like actual shit, like not pinky promises, but it obviously meant something to Corey. So Corey pinky promise Sandhagen. I don't know. Let's see. What about the Mickey Gall fight? Is it too early to jump back onto that?
No, I like that fight. Mickey's striking he obviously hits real hard, but it just doesn't look like he's real comfortable on the feet still. But it's dope. He's got the power. Like he fucking had him wobbled straight away almost.
Yeah, he looked. He packing some punch in those strikes. Like he's.
For sure.
I like. Oh, what you go? Sorry.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, on our show last week we were talking about Rodolfo Vieira. Obviously multiple-time jiu-jitsu world champion, and we saw him, spend a little bit more time on the feet and not looking desperate to take it to the ground. And I feel like the confidence that he gained from doing that was huge. And I sort of feel the same about Mickey Gall. He's got title aspirations. He's early on. But maybe he was sort of thinking in this fight, let me get some octagon time on the feet. He knows he's got the ground game if he needs it. And I felt like his striking isn't the prettiest or the most technical, but I definitely felt like he was hitting a lot harder than he has in the past. And he definitely looked much more controlled and much more dangerous. So I think, getting time on the feet for him is going to be really good for him at this point in his career as he moves up the ranks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he definitely packs a lot of punch for sure, and he just needs to feel comfortable on the feet. And it seems like the game plan for everybody else fighting him would just be keep it on the feet, stay away from him for one round, and potentially he'll gas in the second round because he does seem to put everything into those strikes.
Yeah, he's loading up, man.
Yeah, and his cardio doesn't seem the best because remember when he fought Mike Perry? I think he gassed like crazy in that, and he just looks dead after.
He passes away, man. Yeah, he does pass away.
He's, those fighters after they're really just everything looks crisp, everything, and then the second round they're so loose and they're wobbly and they're just
stumbling around like fucking drunk cunts, man. Yeah, it was
trying to act not fucking destroyed,
staring up at the clock, wobbling around. You're like, if their opponent's not seeing that, something's wrong.
Yeah, it's funny after in the second round it's 4:30 still to go, and then looking at the clock, it's been 30 seconds. How long do you think it's been?
Oh man, how slow must time go for the fighters in there when they get tired? You just if you've ever done any intense physical exercise, I don't know, training on stairs or any intense sport shit, and you get tired. Imagine that state, full breathing, and then someone's hunting you down in a cage and trying to light you up. It's the scariest shit. That is a good fucking motivation to go for a run every morning and put the work in, because that is horrifying, man.
Horrifying. And imagine the feeling. Imagine the feeling when you look at the clock and it's only been 30 seconds and you could have sworn it halfway through the round.
Is this round nearly done? Are we going to hear the fucking 10-second shit soon? Bro, it's only been 30 seconds.
You're for fuck's sake. And then the guy that's trying to finish you just saw you look at the clock after 30 seconds.
You're yelling at the ref being the clock's fucking broken and shit. It's nah, bro, you're just on slow. You're slowed up right now. It's broken. It's broken. Clock stoppage.
It's not a thing.
That's not a thing. The clock's all good, bro. That's good shit. Do we want to talk about the Heinisch fight as well versus Imamov?
Yeah.
That was Ian Heinisch, of course, coming off a first main event of his career against Calvin Gastelum, which was he earned that fight, but it still felt like a massive step up.
Was that his last fight?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And then he's on the prelims of a fight night, which is kind of a pretty rough drop main event to fight night prelims. I don't know. It was strange. And he was facing Nasruddin Imamov out of Dagestan by way of Paris.
And he didn't even headline the prelims.
Yeah, weird. What is with that? There's some weird politics going on, eh? Like some dudes like Tyron Woodley, like if soon as you lose, the UFC's like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Even if you're the champ. But yeah, that is strange. I don't know what. And then there was some couple of ropey fights like higher up than that. So I don't know, but this fight really delivered for me. What did you think of it?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I'm Evolve. Is that how you fucking say his name?
I think it's Imavov.
Imavov.
Yeah, Nasruddin though, it's a cool name.
Yeah, Nasruddin. Imavov. Yeah, he looked really comfortable, just super chill, which it must be hard to fight against somebody that looks like that. It just looks so natural and it's just chilling.
Nothing going on, just like, yeah, I'm just gonna fight, bro. And Highness was so tense, and he's like got all that muscle, and he's like, rah. And Nasruddin's just loose and chill, like he just got out of the pool or something, like sunbathing vibes, like. Yeah. And he just stalked him, man. His striking looked insane. It was like, holy shit, he's just, a big step up in competition for him. Like Highness just haven't fought Gastelum, obviously lost that fight, but didn't get washed out by Gastelum.
No, and going into that fight, it wasn't like, who the fuck is Highness? Like he it did seem like it was a good fight, like against Gastelum. So yeah, a massive step up.
Yeah, and Imavov's just jumped the line a little bit there. Like it's a big win to beat Ian Highness, especially in the fashion that he did. He never looked in trouble. He walked him down. Technical. It was like a technical stalk. He just stalked him, but he was never in range. It's like he was reading Highness's every movement, and eventually got the finish in round 2. And it was like, oh shit, this dude is. He is arriving in the sport, man. And France, a lot of talent coming out of France. Cyril Gane fighting for the interim heavyweight championship soon. Obviously Ngannou put in a lot of work in Paris. So it's exciting to see these countries coming through as the sport grows and develops throughout the world. But man, he's an exciting fighter, and he's going to be fighting I would say a top 15, top 10 opponent at middleweight pretty soon.
Yeah. He definitely looks ready for that. And then the next fight was pretty crazy. Brendan Allen versus Soriano.
It was, yeah. Soriano unbeaten. Obviously pretty young in his career, but jeez.
How many body shots can he take? He just...
Body kicks. Oh, shit.
God.
Eating
he just
them,
didn't give a fuck.
Didn't care, man.
Didn't, and they look so hard.
It's like, that must be like getting hit with a baseball bat to your organs. Like, Jesus.
For sure. Yeah, all your organs in there, like your ribs are kind of further up. There's fucking nothing going on there. It's just eating it. No bones, just kidneys, intestines, just fucking eating those leg kicks. Like,
yeah,
really.
And this was an interesting matchup because I was pretty high on Brendan Allen leading into this fight. He's fought Sean Strickland, who's obviously fighting Uriah Hall next week in the main event. So he's fought some of the best fighters in the sport, and he's fighting, Punahele Soriano, he's a young Hawaiian fighter, 8-0 going into this fight, but half the amount of fights that Brendan Allen has had. But he's unbeaten, so he has that unbeaten fighter's confidence, and he definitely showed that, and he showed his toughness in this fight. I thought it was a good loss, like a loss he's going to learn from. But Brendan Allen just looked comfortable in there. I felt like he showed his experience, mixed it up well, and that body kick was devastating.
Yeah. Soriano must feel good. Not good, but he must feel
probably pretty sore, bro, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, but as a fighter, to be able to withstand all of that, not be finished, just eat it all, like that's just such a crazy skill to have as a fighter. Like a Nate Diaz just can eat everything and just keep coming forward.
Yeah, the Hawaiians are tough, man. They're tough. I mean, I imagine growing up in Hawaii is pretty rough at times. You know, like these guys coming out of there are pretty special. And you know, he looked dangerous throughout the fight, and you know, he said going in, you know, he no longer has to worry about his cardio, and I think he showed that, like especially taking that many strikes to the body, which will fatigue the absolute shit out of you. He, you know, he looked a little bit faded in the second, but then he had a really good. He rose back up in the third, and was right there, still hunting for the finish right till the final bell, which was great to see for a young fighter. Yeah, it was a great fight.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you want to get into some news? We got some news.
I'd love to get into some news, bro. You're always bringing me the freshest takes from the world of the internet, so I would love to talk news.
I just saw this before we came on, and I don't know if you've seen it, but Colby and Usman is official. So,
I did just see that, bro. I did. How are you feeling? What are the emotions?
Yeah, well, it's such a good fight. It's going to be a really, I mean, if we're going off what happened last time, that was just such a fucking good fight.
It was an absolute war, the first match.
Yeah, instant classic. Two really, you know, crazy wrestlers, but the whole fight was standing up.
Which you often see, but it's like, it was strange to see that.
Was there even a takedown?
I don't even think there was even an attempt. No, I think they just went, all right, let's just scrap, which I do appreciate in some sense, but I would also love to see them test their wrestling skills.
Yeah, do you think in this second fight that there will be more wrestling? Do you think that they potentially, and who would get the better of that? Do you think if there is?
It's a great question, man, because you know they've got different wrestling styles, but also really really similar. You know, they both love to grind opponents up against the cage, tire them out. And just make it a dirty fight. And you know, Colby obviously loves to land strikes in that clinch and dirty box. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to go against Usman, especially with the improvements that he's made in the striking, working with Trevor Whitman. You know, like it just sort of feels to me like Kamaru is just a slightly better version of Colby in all areas. But I know Colby's a gamer. He's there to fight. You know, love him or hate him. He's got insane cardio. I don't know. How do you see Colby winning this fight? You know, it's hard to visualize for me.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I really think if they were to wrestle each other, I think Usman would probably be a bit better than Colby, because it seems like Colby just spams takedowns, and that's how he kind of gets them. Against like RDA, he was doing that.
Yeah.
Just the pressure that he puts on. I think Usman is probably a more powerful dude. Like he kind of just looks like a freak of nature.
Physically gifted, man. Yeah, he's a monster.
And so the last fight, it ended in he broke Colby's jaw, was it?
Yeah, quite early on, I think, in the fight. I can't remember the exact round, but it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like round 3 or 4, and he just like hit him with, I think, a pretty savage right. Was it a right hook or a right straight? And the jaw just, oh man,
hanging on.
What is that like? Having your jaw broken and you've still got Kamaru Usman hunting you down, man. Like, jeez. And then Kamaru's able to get the finish in round 5, which is always a treat, when there's 5 rounds and then there's a finish in the 5th. It's like, oh, that was a fucking classic. it was one of the greatest fights that we've seen. It was an absolute classic. And
It was.
yeah, do you think Colby's earned this title rematch against Kamaru, or is UFC just going for the money fight here? Do you think for the marketing, because Colby's gonna sell the shit out of this fight, and it's fine. I'm excited about it. It's a fun fight.
That's the thing. The person that gets fucked over is Leon.
But fuck Leon, man.
I know it seems like he's always waiting. I don't like dudes that wait. It's like
waiting around. Go get it, bro. Like, he fucking poked Bilal Muhammad's eye like almost out of his fucking skull, and then almost got finished by Nate Diaz in round 5 of their fight. And he probably should have run through Nate Diaz, even though Nate Diaz is a fucking legend and he's super hard to put away. But Leon's always expecting a title shot, and he's so fucking sulky about it. It's like, bro, make it unequivocal. Go, oh my god, there's no one else that can fight for the title except Leon Edwards, and he never does that. Like, always expecting the world, never really making it emphatic. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling that fucking sympathetic for Leon Edwards right now.
No, and that's the thing. If you're the champion is Kamaru, so to almost be finished by Nate, it doesn't say a lot about your chances.
Yeah.
Because Usman, I feel, can punch so much stronger than Nate. Nate's combinations, potentially his boxing's crazy, but if you're going off one shot power, I don't know. It's just not a good case.
100%. And Leon looked tired at the end of that fight, and there was no fucking grappling in that fight really. It was a stand-up battle. So you imagine how tired he's going to be with Kamaru wearing on him, putting all that weight on him, grinding him up against the cage, if he could do that, which I imagine he would. And then we also know that Kamaru has a world-class gas tank. So I don't know. He has to prove it, man. And as much as I'm sort of like, has Colby proved it? I still feel like he is. If he is the guy that should fight for the title in that division right now. We didn't see a statement from Wonderboy or Gilbert Burns, so the show must go on. And I think just based on the first fight, it was such a fucking barn burner that you sort of have to rebook it, and it does feel like a pretty good time.
Yeah, it seems like, the first fight was ultra competitive. Burns didn't do enough. You weren't like, that was
a shitty fucking fight.
It was shitty. Yeah. I'm happy with it. I'm so down to see
happy.
that.
Now that we've unpacked it, it does feel fucking right, man. It does feel fucking like a good scrap, man. Oh, because imagine if Colby came out and starched him, because they fought in 2019 December, so it's plenty of time, and because of Colby, having a bit of time off, not having a lot of fights, maybe he's added some new tools, maybe he's been putting a game plan together specifically for Usman. So let's see what he can do, man. Let's see.
Yeah, what was his last fight? Was it against Usman?
I think he had one other fight.
Woodley. Against Woodley.
It's like fighting a fucking scarecrow or some shit. It's like... it's like he's... I don't know. Woodley's kind of... I don't know. He was on the way down. It's not like a big win.
Yeah. So some
Woodley.
more... So some more news. Stipe's not happy with how the heavyweight division's going down. What do you think Stipe should do? What's the right move?
I know it's a tough situation for Stipe. He's obviously he's Francis took the title off him pretty recently in spectacular fashion. There were no questions, finished. And now they've obviously booked Derek Lewis versus Cyril Gane for an interim heavyweight title, which feels kind of wrong. but we have to kind of go along with it, I guess. And then, yeah, where does Stipe fit in? You know, he's arguably he should be in that interim title fight, but that also doesn't feel right because Stipe fighting for an interim title is just weird. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you got John Jones in the conversation as well. Is he going to come to heavyweight? And then you're looking at like a long layoff for Stipe, eh? Like if we've got the interim title fight, you know, coming up in a couple of weeks, the winner of that will have to have a break, and then before they fight Francis, and they'll have to have a break, and that's even if Stipe gets that next shot. Yeah, what's your take on the situation, man? It's a tough situation for Stipe right now.
Yeah, it's. I think it's tough when you lose to the champ, and it's such an obvious loss that it's like, okay, there's really, yeah, like you said, there's no question. Where do you go from there when you were potentially the greatest heavyweight of all time? You've still got some left in the tank. It doesn't look like Stipe's over the hill or anything. Francis just looked better than him. So yeah, it's, what do you want to do? You want to go back? You want to just train a bit more and hopefully you can beat Ngannou? Where I can't really see a way that Stipe can beat Ngannou.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ngannou's just cleaned up what he needed to clean up from the first fight that they had. I think Stipe created the champion that we're seeing in Francis Ngannou. You know, obviously Francis is an amazing fighter, incredible story. If you haven't looked it up, check out the Joe Rogan episode with Francis Ngannou. His story is something out of a fucking movie. You couldn't even write it as a movie. It's insane. But yeah, I think that first fight with Stipe really introduced Francis to the top echelon of the sport. And the fact that he got so tired in that first fight and still wasn't finished, I think the run that he went on after that fight, he looked amazing. He's tuned up his takedown defense. I don't know, I feel like we're about to see a really incredible reign from Francis Ngannou. Which is why it's annoying that there's an interim title fight, because I just want to see Francis reign. Like, there's definitely some double standards that creep in from the UFC. It's annoying sometimes.
For sure, it didn't seem long enough to warrant an interim title, but I think the UFC kind of uses that as a little tool to try and get Ngannou to jump back in, you know. Yeah,
and it works, man. You're like, fuck's sake, I'm the champ. It's like, well, all right, let's go.
Prove it. And it's like, well,
yeah,
I've proven it. I took the title, you know.
I beat the greatest heavyweight of all time. I stopped them. So
yeah,
but they do use it as a tool. And also when you have, like, you know, a fight card where it's like Nunes versus Pena, and then you're like, who do we book and shit, and it's in Houston, which is Derek Lewis's hometown. It's like you add an interim bout in the mix, even though everyone knows it's not the real bout. It does get the conversation going. I think they use it pretty tactically, like they don't overdo it.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too mad at it, I guess.
No. I mean, for Stipe, I would love to see him versus John Jones. But John Jones says he's going to be out for at least like a year or some shit. So I don't even know what's going on with John, because it would be so good it would be such a nice thing for the heavyweight division if John Jones is there, and he's Ngannou versus John Jones is looming. You know, that would be insane.
That's the fight, Stipe, John Jones, and that, you know, let the interim champion fight Francis, have Stipe fight John Jones, and then they, you know, semi-finals, and then we and then we go.
I think it gets really interesting, especially because we haven't seen John Jones in the heavyweight division. I think it's a fresh matchup for Stipe. It's, you know, a lot of questions. You know, John Jones going against the greatest heavyweight of all time. If he looks really good, then we're like, holy fuck, him versus Ngannou is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I want it, man. What the fuck is John Jones up to, man? He's like, What is
I don't know.
doing?
He's lifting weights and shit, just getting massive. And it's like, is that the best thing? I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but it doesn't seem. I don't know. It seems a bit overkill for some reason.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting over him, man. He needs to fucking do something soon. Otherwise, like, you know, he hasn't even introduced himself. Like, when was his, like, to the new fans of the UFC and shit? Like, he's feeling like an old guard sort of fighter. Like, he needs to come in and, like, he's been tweeting about, like, everything except what we want him to tweet about. Like, he's just annoying right now. Like, he just needs to book a fight. Like, just fight. No one wants to hear from you at all, except if you're gonna fight. Like, that's what you are. You're a fighter, and you're pretty fucking trash at everything else. Like, you're a whack dude. Just all we want to see is you fighting. That's the only thing we care about you for.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and he's only 34, which is younger than I thought.
I would have said a couple years older. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he came into the UFC when he was super young and just fucking destroyed everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's got to, I don't know, another year that's potentially 35, and it's like, how long can you stay in the heavyweight division? Dudes do seem to stay in the heavyweight division for longer than... You
can do it for a bit longer, yeah. But still, use it. You have to use the time that you have, man. Like, yeah, he's just not fighting regularly enough, and he can't build any momentum, I reckon. Like, but let's see. Maybe we're going to get surprised. Maybe Stipe John Jones is in the works, you know? If it is, you know, we'll be fucking talking about it on this shit, you know? We'll be scooping that shit. We'll be breaking that news, you know?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's all the news I've got.
Listen, man.
Yeah, so cheers for tuning in, and we'll be coming back through with a fight preview for the fight night coming up this week. Strickland vs Hall. Just fucking getting into it.
Yeah, we'll be talking some trash. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
If you're out there, if you're even listening to this shit, let us know.
Share with the friends that you like.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, don't share this with your enemies though. It's only the homies.
No.
Yeah.
Just
Sweet.
the friends.
Just a good guy.
Peace.
Peace. Catch you guys.